Hello dear students. Actually, we are forced to do online classes instead of offline classes because of COVID pandemic. And with this video, I am going to start the online classes for your science. The two chapters I completed already in the class. Now we are going to start with the third chapter, synthetic fibers and plastics. In the lower classes, you have learned already regarding the fibers like jute, cotton, wool, etc. These all fibers are actually obtained from the nature. Because of this reason, these fibers are called natural fibers. And you also learn how to obtain and the different process involved in the making of these fibers and to fabrics. But in this chapter, we are going to study regarding synthetic fibers. The fibers are made by human beings are called synthetic fibers. Nowadays, we are using many fabrics and articles which are made by these synthetic fibers. If we list out the certain number of articles which we are using in our daily life, we can classify into natural and synthetic. For example, if we take clothes, we can say that there are some cloths which are artificially made or made by synthetic fibers, and as well as there are some cloths which are made by natural fiber like cotton cloths. So similarly, we can classify the all articles into two categories which are made by synthetic fiber or natural fibers. Next, how these fibers are made. Actually, these fibers are actually a polymer. What is a polymer? Polymer, to understand what is a polymer, and if you take a paper clip and if you join the end to end, we will get a long structure. That long structure is made by a small unit of a paper clip. Clear? So similarly, in this case of fibers also, to obtain fiber, so fiber is actually not a single substance. It is made by small units. These small units joined one by one to form a long structure. That long structure or the big structure is called polymer. So what is polymer? Polymer is a chemical substance combined by small units. The small unit is called monomer. Clear? Mono means a single. So when this monomer joined together, we will get a polymer. Poly means more than one. For example, one natural fiber, if you take, that is cellulose. Cellulose is a natural fiber which is found in plants. And this cellulose is made by small units called glucose. So when this glucose join together, we will get a cellulose. Cellulose is a fiber. Clear? So this is regarding, we need to remember what is a polymer. In this chapter, we are mainly focusing on four types of synthetic fibers: rayon, nylon, acrylic, and polyester. Here, first one is rayon. Rayon is we can call as a semi-synthetic fiber because rayon is obtained from wood pulp. Okay, so wood pulp is a natural substance, so we can call rayon is a semi-synthetic fiber. It is also known as artificial silk because it can be woven like silk fibers. Because of this reason, it is also called artificial fiber. It also can be dyed with different colors so that we can make different cloths in different varieties of colors. So that is one advantage. It is mainly used for making bed sheets, carpets, etc. The second category that is we are going to discuss is that nylon. Nylon is the first fully synthetic fiber and it is made or it is obtained from coal, water and air. And the characteristics, if you discuss, it is very light, elastic and durable, and also it is very much strong even than the steel wire. So if you take a nylon wire and a steel wire of same thickness and length, the nylon wire will be more stronger than the steel wire. This is the reason why nylon fibers are used for making parachutes as well as ropes for rock climbing. It is also used for making socks, tents, toothbrush, etc. So this is all about nylon. The third category comes, that is polyester. What is a polyester? The word poly represents that It is more than one. So ester is the monomer in this case. So when many esters join together, we will get a polyester. Ester is a chemical substance which is also gives some kind of fruit smells. It is also used in the case of some chemical synthesis. And remember, in this case, polyester is very light and thin, and the characteristics of polyester are like it do not get wrinkled easily, and it remains crisp and easy to wash. That is a very advantage. This is the reason why polyester are mainly used for making clothes, because it do not wrinkle easily, as well as it is easy to wash and it remains crisp. One more advantage is that it can be drawn into thin fiber, so that we can make a thin cloths. Polyesters are not only used for making these cloths, but also they are used for these bottles, utensils, etc. Have you heard the word PET, polyethylene terephthalate? That is one kind of polyester which is mainly used for making water bottle. That is a very important thing we have to remember regarding this polyesters. And different types of polyesters are available nowadays. The fourth type of synthetic fiber we are going to discuss, that is acrylic. Acrylic is a little different from the other kind of synthetic fibers because it appears to resemble wool. So it is mainly used for the blankets and shawl, sweater, etc. Which the articles which we already made from the wool, the similar types of article can be made from acrylic also, and it can be dyed with a different variety of colors. It is very cheap and also it is durable. Now let's compare the characteristics of synthetic fibers and natural fibers. Nowadays, the majority of the articles we are using that are made by synthetic fibers. The reason is that the advantage of synthetic fibers are comparatively more than the natural fibers. The main advantages or characteristics, if we list out the characteristics of synthetic fibers, we can observe that they are very light, economically they are cheap, and it can be easily obtained in factories, and they dry up quickly because they do not absorb large amount of water. Because of that, if you are using our clothes which are made by synthetic fiber, then these clothes will be dry up quickly because they do not absorb large amount of water if it is soaked in the water. And they're easy to maintain. That is another advantage. While in case of artificial fibers, all the characteristics are just opposite, because they are not easy to obtain, because the natural fibers are very difficult to obtain from the nature, and also they are expensive, and they absorb large amount of water if they soak in the water. Because of this reason, they do not dry up quickly. And most of the natural articles made by natural fibers are not durable because it can be easily damaged, and also it is not easy to maintain. So this is the reason why nowadays we are using more articles made by synthetic than natural fiber. We have completed the topics regarding the fibers, and the second type of material we are using, that one is plastics. Nowadays many articles, instruments, these all are made by plastics. If we list out if we take some examples of plastics, we can categorize into two categories. See here on the right side and left side, you can see that in the left side there are some articles which are given like utensils, etc. And here it is some articles like toys, buckets, etc. So in this case, what can you infer about these differences of these types of plastics? If you are going to keep these plastic buckets or containers on the gas stove, what will happen? It will melt. While the plastics which are covered on the handle of this pressure cooker will not, because we are used to keep this pressure cooker on the gas stove. It is get heat up, but still it is keeping at the original position, and if you touch on the handle, we will not get harm. So what make these differences? That means on the basis of these differences, we can classify the plastics into two categories. That is thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. The thermoplastics are the plastics which get deformed easily on heating and can be bent easily. Actually, the articles given on the right side are made by thermoplastics, while the second category, that is thermosetting plastics. So the thermosetting plastics are the plastics which molded ones can't be softened by heating. Such a category is called thermosetting plastics. Or the plastics used for making the handle of pressure cooker is actually thermosetting plastics. Because of this reason, even if you are keeping this pressure cooker on the gas stove, the handle of the pressure cooker do not get melted. If it is made by thermoplastics, what will happen? It will slowly get melted. Then if you are trying to hold that one, what will happen? This melted plastic will stick on the body and it harm our hand. Clear? So that is a very important thing we have to remember regarding the classification of plastics. And also the category examples of thermoplastics are PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Actually, these are mainly used for making the covering of electrical wires and the water pipes. While the melamine backlight are the examples for thermosetting plastics. There are two examples I told you regarding the thermosetting plastics. One is backlight and melamine. Backlight is mainly used for making the handle of kitchen utensils, switches, etc. While melamine used for mainly this making floor tiles, kitchenware, as well as these fireproof fabrics. Because melamine resists the fire. This is the reason why melamine used for making fireproof jackets, especially the suits made for firemen. Then why we are using plastics or the plastics in large amount? The reason is that because of the certain characteristics of plastics. First one is that plastic is non-reactive. That means it do not react with the foodstuffs or the chemicals. Because of the main reason, it is used for storing the foodstuffs. Also, it is used for storing chemicals in the laboratories. Because plastics are non-reactive. The second characteristic is that plastic is light, strong and durable. Same as the other kind of synthetic fibers we have discussed in the first section, the same way plastics also possess this kind of characteristics. Because of this reason, it is easy to carry, it is not heavy, it is durable, it is very strong. Because of this reason, plastics become the what you call very important part of our life. And also, they are poor conductors compared to the other types of materials. Plastics are poor conductors. Because of this reason, plastics are used for covering the electrical wires, as well as it is used for making the electrical switches and the covering of the electrical instruments, etc. Because it do not conduct the electricity. Also, not only electricity, but also it is a poor conductor of heat. Because of that reason, I told you that the handle of the cookware are mainly made by backlight, which is also belong to the thermosetting plastics. And they are easy to maintain that. No need of any maintenance. Clear. Once it is bought, one article made by plastics, that is enough. No need of much maintenance to continue its function. Clear. Now, till now we have discussed the classification as well as the benefits of the plastics. Now, as it has benefits, plastic also possesses some drawbacks, especially on the environment. We know that microorganisms help for the decomposition process. That means the natural fibers can be easily decomposed by these bacteria present in the environment. Because of this reason, these natural materials are called biodegradable materials. The material which easily get decomposed by the natural process by the action of bacteria are called biodegradable substance. While when we come to the case of plastics, they are not biodegradable. Why? Because it do not get easily decomposed by the natural process. Because of that reason, it is called a non-biodegradable. So this non-biodegradability of the plastics makes some certain harmful effects on the environment. Let's discuss one by one how these plastics become harmful for the environment. There are many ways in which plastics make harmful effect on environment. Because we know that it takes several years, almost 400 years or 500 years it will take to decompose. So it makes a soil pollution if it is kept on the soil. And also, if it is, then we may think that it can be burned. If it is going to burn, what will happen? It releases a lot of poisonous gases. And also it releases some unburned carbon particles to the atmosphere, which makes air pollution. And if it is thrown to the surroundings here and there, what will happen? If it is eaten by the animals during eating of waste materials, if it is enter into their body, especially cattle, then it chokes the digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Even it causes death of the animals. Clear. And also it clog the drainage. If it is drawing here and there, it will clog the drainage, and it is start to give a dirty smell in the surroundings, and the surroundings become polluted. So it has a lot of harmful effects. You can also think your own way that how the plastics become harmful for the environment. And then how can we reduce this harmful effect of the plastics on the environment? The first thing what we can do, that one is reduce the use of plastics as far as possible, because we cannot say that do not use plastics, because plastics become the essential part of our daily life. So we cannot say that it is do not use the plastic. Instead of that, avoid plastics as far as possible. That is, replace the plastics made articles by articles made by natural fibers, like bags made by jute or paper bags. These things we can use instead of plastic carry bags. That is very important, because the major contribution of the pollution made by plastics are from plastic carry bags. So at least if you are able to reduce the use of plastics by plastic carry bags, that will be a better thing that we can do. We know that in the home or school, wherever it is, we used to dispose the waste materials from our home or office or school, etc. So whenever we going to dispose the waste materials, before disposing, we have to collect the waste materials as biodegradable and non-biodegradable separately, so that biodegradable materials we can make a dig and just dump in that and cover it. It will be decomposed. So if we collect the non-biodegradable materials like plastics separately, we need to dispose only to a certain authority for those who are coming for collecting the plastics or such types of waste, so that it can be recycled, reused, etc. The 5R principle is the 5R principle state that we need to follow, and the principle that is reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse, recover. There are many types of plastics can be easily recycled. So we should not throw here and there, even if it is a small cover of a chocolate. And also, while you are using the especially food items which you bought from the market, which will be in the small plastics packet, while you're opening the plastics packet by cutting, it is very careful that you should not cut completely. Just to give you one cut, so that the complete plastic packet should be kept as a whole. If you are cutting that part, the small part, it will be go here and there, because the small pieces of the plastics are very difficult to recycle according to the modern study. Because if you cut completely, that small piece of the packet will be going here and there. So it makes the very difficulty to recycle such types of small pieces. Okay, so this is regarding the synthetic fibers and plastics. I just discussed in a brief way. You have to read the textbook thoroughly, so that you will get more examples and clear idea about the synthetic fibers and plastics. Very important thing is that based on the quality of the plastic, we can classify the plastics into different category. One more thing you have to remember, it is not the part of your examination syllabus, but still you have to remember, while you buy a food plastic container, especially for storing food, you have to look at back the number which is given on the back side of the or bottom part of the container. Okay, according to that you have to choose the correct quality. According to that number, you can decide the quality of the material which is used for making that particular article. I given the details of this number 6 quality classification of plastics on the base of this number in your PDF notes, so you can refer that one. Surely that part is not at all related to your examination syllabus. It is only for your reference. Okay, so now I am going to conclude this chapter, and if you have any queries, shoot your queries in the WhatsApp number, because it's not easy to cover each and every topic in detail, because in this short period of time. So if you have any doubts, never hesitate to ask your doubts, because We know that we are forced to do online classes instead of offline classes because of COVID pandemic. One more thing is that take care of your health because health is ultimately important than everything. Thank you all.